काम हूं जब केसर जाफरान से ज्यादा छोटी छोटी कोशिशों से घर महका हो। मेज पर खाने से ज्यादा बनाने वाले का दिल सजा हो। जब मेहमान नवाजी में कोई कसर बाकी ना हो, तब जान लो घर में आज दावत है। दावत। Bring out your finest.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
Just sorted my guaranteed over 50 plan with Sun Life. There's even a cash payout.
Nice one.
It's given me the confidence to look after myself. I've started learning jiu-jitsu.
Come on!
Search Sun Life Plan today and get a free gift card.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Thanks for staying with NDTV. You're watching the Thursday edition of the World Report. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. In a fiery address from Bikaner, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the Indian Armed Forces, saying terror bases in Pakistan were destroyed in just 22 minutes during Operation Sindoor. In fact, he called the mission the new face of justice. PM Modi reaffirmed India's zero-tolerance policy against terrorism. Moreover, he warned Pakistan against using terror as a weapon, asserting that every conflict ends, in fact, in its defeat. PM Modi also vowed to expose Pakistan's actions globally through the all-party delegations that have gone out. Here's more.
22 अप्रैल को आतंकवादियों ने धर्म पूछकर हमारी बहनों की मांग का सिंदूर उजाड़ दिया था। वो गोलियां पहलगाम में चली थी, लेकिन उन गोलियों से 140 करोड़ देशवासियों का सीना छलनी हुआ था। इसके बाद हर देशवासी ने एकजुट होकर संकल्प लिया था कि आतंकवादियों को मिट्टी में मिला देंगे, उन्हें कल्पना से भी बड़ी सजा देंगे। आज आपके आशीर्वाद से, देश की सेना के शौर्य से हम सब उस प्रण पर खरे उतरे हैं। हमारी सरकार ने तीनों सेनाओं को खुली छूट दे दी थी।
India's global outreach to brief world powers on Operation Sindoor and expose Pakistan's link to terror began on Wednesday, viewers, with 2 of 7 delegations, in fact, headed to Middle East and Southeast Asia, respectively. In Japan, meanwhile, the delegation, including Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, met Japanese Foreign Ministry officials. My colleague Disha Bagchi joins me from the NDTV newsroom for the latest. Disha, if you can hear me, what's the importance of, first of all, this diplomatic outreach by the Prime Minister and the Indian government, and how it will nail the head on Pakistan's double speak on terror and its terror game at large?
Absolutely, it's a very crucial visit, and really it's India's diplomatic push to ensure that the world is aware of and conveys and understands India's strong message when it comes to anti-terrorism and what the message was behind Operation Sindoor, which is exposing, as you mentioned, Pakistan's terror links and ensuring that close Indian allies and the people on the international stage, countries on the international stage, are really aware that this is India's red line when it comes to Pakistan and its actions harboring terrorists and terrorist group over the past couple of decades. And now India is not going to tolerate this anymore and has really is now focused on its anti-terrorism push and its message for zero tolerance against terrorism. In fact, Foreign Minister Jaishankar recently tweeted saying, really congratulating all the delegations who have already begun their visit and congratulating them, telling them that, you know, it's great that they're pushing this message of zero tolerance. And in fact, just to talk about some of these delegations who've already begun this outreach, we have 2 delegations who've already begun interacting with the government officials of UAE and Japan. In fact, Japan, being a Quad ally, is a crucial ally that India must convey its strong message against terrorism. In fact, Japan said that they support India's fight against terrorism and have even called for punishing of the perpetrators of the horrific Pahalgam attack. In fact, today marks the 1 month of the horrific Pahalgam attack, and making it all the more crucial that these delegations are headed to these various countries. In fact, there are 7 delegations, multi-party delegations, headed to 32 countries, and they're also going to be visiting the United Nations Security Council as well as the European Union, significant platforms on the global stage to really ensure that the world knows that India will no longer tolerate Pakistan and its actions harboring terrorism. So
Absolutely.
A very crucial visit.
Absolutely, Disha. Thanks for putting that in perspective. Moving on, but staying with the larger story, 1 month after the horrific Pahalgam massacre in which 26 tourists lost their lives, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has issued a strong rebuke of Pakistan's military leadership. Speaking to Dutch media during his visit to the Netherlands, part of his ongoing tri-nation tour across Europe, Dr. Jaishankar called out Pakistani Army Chief General Asim Munir's extreme religious outlook. In fact, his remarks mark one of the strongest public condemnations yet by a top Indian official. Here's what he said.
26 tourists were murdered in front of their families after ascertaining their fate. And it was done in a way in which it was intended to harm tourism, which is the mainstay of the Kashmir economy, and to create a religious discord. Deliberately, an element of religion was introduced. And to understand that, you've got to also see that on the Pakistani side, you have a Pakistani leadership, especially their army chief, who's very driven by extreme religious outlook. So there is clearly some connect between, the views that were expressed and the behavior that was done.
The Indian government has declared a Pakistani official persona non grata for indulging in activities, quote-unquote, not keeping with his official status in India. Now, the Pakistani official has been asked to leave India within 24 hours. And across the border, a suicide bombing on an army school bus in Pakistan's Balochistan province has killed 5 people. Now, this also includes 3 children. The country has blamed Indian proxies, in fact, for the attack. It's a charge New Delhi strongly denies, calling it another attempt to deflect from Islamabad's internal fallings and fallouts. Days after India's Taliban outreach, China huddles with Pakistan and Afghanistan. In fact, days after External Affairs Minister Jaishankar spoke with the Taliban's acting foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi, the first ministerial level outreach by India to Afghanistan's Taliban administration. In fact, China has moved swiftly to organize a meeting between Islamabad and Kabul. Meanwhile, 2 Israeli embassy staffers have been shot in Washington, D.C. It's a breaking story that my colleague Vishal Vivek has been vehemently covering. Vishal, if you can hear me, what is the latest on this story? What are you picking up?
Pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security. Once in handcuffs, the suspect identified where he discarded the weapon, and that weapon has been recovered, and he implied that he committed the offense. The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody. The suspect has been tentatively identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, Illinois.
Well, my colleague Vishal joins me for more on this story. Vishal, we heard the police chief there. And also in the latest, the Israeli establishment has released the photographs, in fact, of the victims. Can you tell us more about it and where exactly, how much have the investigations, in fact, progressed in the matter?
Well, these are still early hours of the investigation. It will take some time before the authorities zero in on the main cause, because the person, the perpetrator, Elias Rodriguez, who belongs to Chicago, the motive behind the killings have still not been identified, the exact motive. Although when he was arrested, he was found to be screaming "Free, free Palestine," and also the fact that he did this for Gaza, quote unquote. But the exact cause of the incident, that will take some time to unravel. And the other investigations are also going on. Many agencies are scrambling to find the exact cause of the incident. And so far they have only zeroed in on one person. There's only one suspect so far, and he killed both the young people who were supposed to be getting engaged soon, next week to be precise. And that's when they were killed by this person. And this was a congregation of American Jewish people, and there were at least 2 to 3 dozen people from the embassy, is what the local media in the US is saying. But the ambassador from Israel was not there. So there are many questions left to be answered. The first one is that how did this person manage to find that exact location, and how did such a high security incident get breached so easily? So that is one of the questions that will need to be answered by the authorities in the coming weeks.
So thank you so much for getting us the latest there, Vishal. And of course, we'll keep on following this story. Meanwhile, back home in Israel, PM Benjamin Netanyahu has dismissed speculation of, in fact, a rift with US President Donald Trump. Now, this comes following the latter's Gulf tour that excluded Israel. Netanyahu has said that Trump reaffirmed his commitment to Israel in recent conversations, despite tensions over the Gaza conflict. In Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney has said that high-level talks are taking place with the US about joining its proposed Golden Dome missile defense system aimed at countering futuristic threats. My colleague Mahas Siddiqui gets the latest from Ground Zero.
What could mark a significant shift in Canada's policy towards defense cooperation with the United States, President Trump has said that Canada wants to join the Golden Dome missile defense program. This program will cost $175 billion and will be a multi-purpose, multi-layered missile shield, which is expected to be, as per United States, better than what is seen in Israel and called the Iron Dome. This can tackle intercontinental, ballistic and short-range missiles. Ottawa has confirmed that there is conversation underway for Canada to join the Golden Dome. However, it's added a caveat, saying that it's part of the unresolved issues between the two sides as they negotiate an economic and security agreement. What Canada's role is going to be like, what its contribution in terms of the money to the $175 billion is going to be, are all unclear. So far, Canada is a participant in NORAD, wherein it tracks the North American skies and feeds the data into the US missile defense systems. However, it isn't in a decision-making capacity wherein it can respond or react to a missile threat. Speculation this time is that if Canada joins the Golden Dome, it will be a step further than what is seen under NORAD.
Finance leaders from the G7 downplayed trade disputes at their summit in Canada, aimed in fact to present a united front on issues like the Ukraine support and economic transparency. The meeting avoided a repeat of the 2018 G6+1 split, despite underlying tensions over US tariff policies. Shifting focus to West Asia again, where Israel has said it has intercepted a missile launch from Yemen early Thursday, blaming Houthi militants for the attack. Now, the strike, which triggered alarms across central Israel, is the latest, in fact, in a series of missile launches linked to solidarity efforts with Gaza. The Houthis, meanwhile, have not claimed responsibility for this incident, like many others earlier. A US judge has ruled that detained Columbia student Mahmoud Khalil must be allowed to meet with his wife before a key immigration hearing. Now, Khalil, held over pro-Palestinian protests, is challenging his deportation, saying his rights under the First Amendment are in fact being violated by the Trump admin. Dozens were injured during a pension protest outside Argentina's Congress as security forces clashed with elderly demonstrators demanding higher payouts. Now, the protest coincided with lawmakers, in fact, failing to reach quorum on key pension bills. Meanwhile, President Javier Milei's austerity drive has sparked weekly protests amid persistent inflation and rising poverty. News from North Korea now, where Kim Jong-un has condemned the failed launch of a 5,000-ton warship as a criminal act, in fact calling it a disgrace to national dignity. Now, the incident occurred during a launch event he personally attended, with state media blaming carelessness and technical failure. However, good news, no casualties were reported during this failed launch in North Korea. And planning a trip to Georgia just got easier for Indian passport holders. Why so? Well, the country has relaxed its visa rules. Indians with valid American and British or even Schengen or Japanese visas can now enter Georgia without needing a separate visa. The good news does not stop here. Other benefits from a simplified application process requiring documents like bank statements, Aadhaar, and proof of employment. Georgian officials advise using official portals to avoid fraud. Now, the move aims to boost tourism and strengthen ties between the two nations. It's time we slip into a short break. We'll be right back.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I've got a few rounds left to go. And yeah, I will be retiring in a few years, so it makes sense to plan ahead.
Come on, Mary.
That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. Look, the kids don't need the money, but it's nice to leave something to help with funeral costs and other expenses, so they can spend their money on nicer things. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers, who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. Come on! And you're covered for the whole of your life, so you can just get on with things. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Their claims process is really straightforward, so your loved ones will be looked after. Learning more couldn't be simpler and can be done in just a few minutes. Go online or talk to one of their friendly UK team, who will chat you through your options in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Get covered in minutes with no annoying trips to the doctor. With fixed monthly payments, prices start at just £4.42 a month. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
So stop putting it off and get it sorted. That way you can get on with doing something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0800 977 6552 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
It's funny that with unexpected bills, like your car breaking down, a dude on a white horse never comes to save you.
You can't park there, mate.
And your kid's wizard obsession doesn't work on broken boilers.
This is where Lending Stream come in. Short-term loans from £50 to £1,500.
Apply online, 6 months to pay it back. Take back control with a short-term loan from lendingstream.co.uk. Representative APR 1,271%.
Whatever you need to ask about cancer, Macmillan's free support line is just a call away.
Hello, Macmillan.
Whether it's money...
Am I going to lose my job?
Getting on with life.
Can I still go abroad? Get insurance?
Or just need someone to listen.
How do I tell them?
Our specialist advisors are here to help as often as you need them. Whatever you need to ask, cancer, money, life, call us now on 0808 134 1000.
Welcome back. You're watching the World Report on NDTV. In the world of business, in fact, Bitcoin has soared to a new all-time high of $109,760,000, driven by improving global sentiment and investor interest in alternatives, in fact, to the US dollar. Now, this follows a Moody's downgrade of the US debt, easing US-China trade tensions, and a tech market rally also helped fuel this surge. Sportswear giant Nike will raise prices on its adult apparel and equipment next week by up to $10. The company is also set to relist products on Amazon after a 6-year hiatus. Children's products will remain unaffected, though, ahead of the back-to-school season. Automaker Ford has filed a $300 million federal lawsuit accusing California law firms of inflating legal bills under the Lemon Law. One attorney is alleged to have billed 57.5 hours in a single day. Ford claims the scheme costs over $100 million across 5 years. Boeing has said that if it will stabilize the 737 MAX production at 38 planes per month. The move follows a push to restore public trust and improve safety culture, with employee-submitted safety concerns up 220%, in fact, year-on-year. A US judge has ruled that Florida mother's lawsuit against Google and Character.ai will proceed. The suit, for reference, in fact, claims a chatbot influenced a 14-year-old son's suicide. Character.ai, meanwhile, has said that it has safety measures in place. Meanwhile, Google argues it is not responsible for the platform. OpenAI has acquired John Ives, a hardware startup, in a $6.5 billion all-stock deal. Now, Ive, the designer behind Apple's iPhone, will lead the development of next-gen AI devices in a move to reshape how users interact with generative artificial intelligence. In the world of sports, Suryakumar Yadav has guided the Mumbai Indians into the IPL playoffs with a brilliant unbeaten 73 of 43 balls against Delhi Capitals. Mumbai posted 180 before bowling out Delhi for a mere 121, a 59-run difference, by the way. The knock also earned Suryakumar his first Man of the Match award this season, a moment he in fact said his wife had been waiting for. My colleague Rika Roy joins us for more on this. Rika, I recollect the presentation ceremony where Suryakumar had said, in fact, I've won each and every other accolade, but just not the Man of the Match. So tell us more about that and the fact that Mumbai Indians are once again in the playoffs. How big a threat are the men in blue from Bombay?
Interesting that you call them the men in blue from Mumbai. Yes, the Mumbai Indians who missed the qualification cut last time around, they have qualified courtesy that knock by Suryakumar Yadav last night. 73 runs coming off 43 balls. Suryakumar did make good starts this season. There were about 13-14 times when he crossed the 25 mark barrier, but he doesn't consider them to be good or useful knocks. As he mentioned last night during the presentation when it was pelting down at the Wankhede Stadium, that he was waiting for this moment, and his wife apparently told him ahead of the match that you've won every award in the book but not a Man of the Match, so perhaps tonight is the night. And he went and did it for her, and he also dedicated that knock to his wife last night.
Thank you so much for getting us the latest there, and all our best wishes with Suryakumar and the Mumbai Indians. Now moving on, in the world of tennis, Novak Djokovic has claimed his first clay court victory of the season, this after defeating Hungary's Martin Fucsovics in straight sets at the Geneva Open. The 24-time Grand Slam champion dominated the match 6-2, 6-3, marking his first win on clay since the 2024 Paris Olympics. Moving on to the entertainment verse, where Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, popularly known as the Queen of Cannes red carpet, is back for her 22nd appearance, as you see her on our screens. Aishwarya Rai Bachchan made a dazzling entrance at Cannes 2025, wearing an ivory sari and a red emeralds necklace. Channeling royalty and ivory gold Banarsi sari, she once again makes a striking fashion statement at the festival. However, what truly caught everyone's attention was the sindoor she wore, a first for Aishwarya at the prestigious international event. Well, that's all we have for you on this edition. Take care and have a wonderful day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we found the reason why Britain hasn't been so great of late is because the country hasn't been eating enough Weetabix.
It makes sense. I've been eating croissants.
Me too. We should deliver Weetabix to where it's needed most, to whoever's in charge of fixing potholes. VAR.
Yes.
And drivers who park like this.
Yeah.
To Britain, we must say, have you had your Weetabix?
The legend Shri Anup Jalota ji is back. Samar Events UK presents Anup Jalota live in London. Travel partner Southall Travel. Get ready for an unforgettable night of soulful bhajans, ghazals and Bollywood melodies. The legendary Anup Jalota ji is coming to the Beck Theatre in Hayes on Sunday the 25th of May 2025. Book your seats now. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime musical evening. Radio partner Sunrise Radio.
2003 is when Munna Bhai MBBS happens to you.
Right.
Dr. Asthana. And then in 2009 is when you become Virus in Three Idiots. And then you make a directorial venture through Mehta Boys.
Right.
It has been quite a journey.
Yes.
But these two characters were particularly those which are seen as iconic, would you say that they reshaped your entire, acting career?
You're absolutely right. People identify me with these two characters. I have had a learning curve through a lot of other characters too, but yes, there's no denial that these two, and if I might be allowed to put in one more, was Khosla Ghosla Khurana. Because, and you're from Delhi, right? And I was cast for that role and I was very hesitant. I went to Delhi to do some research on the character and I met a young actor over there, not young in my eyes, who said, I'm a little upset with you. I said, why? He said, I auditioned for this role. And of course, you didn't get it. So, but why are you upset with me? Tell the casting director or the director, why are you blaming me? He says, you see, you're a Parsi from Bombay. You're a Parsi from Mumbai. If I get a very important role of a Parsi in Mumbai, how would you feel? Yeah, he got a point. I said, now what are we going to do about this? So I said, and I gave such a fantastic audition. I researched and researched. I said, I tell you what, I got a better idea. Teach me. Help me. You must take help. And I used his help and I sat with him and I did my research. For me, it was a very crucial role.
Thanks for staying with NDTV. You're watching the Thursday edition of the World Report. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. In a fiery address from Bikaner, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the Indian Armed Forces, saying terror bases in Pakistan were destroyed in just 22 minutes during Operation Sindoor. In fact, he called the mission the new face of justice. PM Modi reaffirmed India's zero-tolerance policy against terrorism. Moreover, he warned Pakistan against using terror as a weapon, asserting that every conflict ends, in fact, in its defeat. PM Modi also vowed to expose Pakistan's actions globally through the all-party delegations that have gone out. Here's more.
22 अप्रैल को आतंकवादियों ने धर्म पूछकर हमारी बहनों की मांग का सिंदूर उजाड़ दिया था। वो गोलियां पहलगाम में चली थी, लेकिन उन गोलियों से 140 करोड़ देशवासियों का सीना छलनी हुआ था। इसके बाद हर देशवासी ने एकजुट होकर संकल्प लिया था कि आतंकवादियों को मिट्टी में मिला देंगे, उन्हें कल्पना से भी बड़ी सजा देंगे। आज आपके आशीर्वाद से, देश की सेना के शौर्य से हम सब उस प्रण पर खरे उतरे हैं। हमारी सरकार ने तीनों सेनाओं को खुली छूट दे दी थी।
India's global outreach to brief world powers on Operation Sindoor and expose Pakistan's link to terror began on Wednesday, viewers, with 2 of 7 delegations, in fact, headed to Middle East and Southeast Asia, respectively. In Japan, meanwhile, the delegation, including Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, met Japanese Foreign Ministry officials. My colleague Disha Bagchi joins me from the NDTV newsroom for the latest. Disha, if you can hear me, what's the importance of, first of all, this diplomatic outreach by the Prime Minister and the Indian government, and how it will nail the head on Pakistan's double speak on terror and its terror game at large?
Absolutely, it's a very crucial visit, and really it's India's diplomatic push to ensure that the world is aware of and conveys and understands India's strong message when it comes to anti-terrorism and what the message was behind Operation Sindoor, which is exposing, as you mentioned, Pakistan's terror links and ensuring that close Indian allies and the people on the international stage, countries on the international stage, are really aware that this is India's red line when it comes to Pakistan and its actions harboring terrorists and terrorist group over the past couple of decades. And now India is not going to tolerate this anymore and has really is now focused on its anti-terrorism push and its message for zero tolerance against terrorism. In fact, Foreign Minister Jaishankar recently tweeted saying, really congratulating all the delegations who have already begun their visit and congratulating them, telling them that, you know, it's great that they're pushing this message of zero tolerance. And in fact, just to talk about some of these delegations who've already begun this outreach, we have two delegations who've already begun interacting with the government officials of UAE and Japan. In fact, Japan being a Quad ally is a crucial ally that India must convey